Greetings, and welcome back to the MCOC Encyclopedia. Today, as promised, we'll be going through the path from 7.1.4 that I recommended in my previous video with the team I recommended using. This will allow you to get a little more insight into why I chose this team and how I play around the nodes. This will be much more relaxed, but I still suggest you go and watch that video first if you haven't already, as it contains most of the key information around this quest. And with that, let's jump in. So, here we are in 7.1.4, and we will be taking the Gladiator Hulk path. The team today is 5-star Doom, 5-star Sunspot, 5-star Medusa, 5-star Ascended Nick Fury, and 5-star Ascended Iron Man. All 5 stars today. And we can get away with that simply based on the nodes we're presented with, which are effectively purely advantageous if you follow what you'd have to do. Here we have Skill Wrath, because Skill is the class that has advantage over the defender, which is Science. And given that Colorblind, the other node, sort of forces you to use a team consisting of all different champion classes, you're going to end up with a class advantage, and hence Wrath, in 5 of the 6 path fights. The one you choose to omit is up to you. But even in the time I've taken to explain that, this Gladiator Hulk is already nearly all the way down. The only thing we really have to be concerned with in this fight is not getting to 8 bleeds with Nick Fury, as he will then convert them all into a passive bleed. But that will trigger Hulk Ragnarok's Face Me mechanic, and we don't want to deal with that. So there we go, a very quick and easy first fight. Hulk Ragnarok is not the greatest threat. Up next, we have one of the 2 annoying defenders on the path, Storm Pyramid X, and we will be using, with class advantage, OG Iron Man. He is a very good counter for her, because of his very high damage, and ability to strip off prowess, so let's see that in action. Our plan in this fight is to try and avoid her special 2, sort of, and we're going to build to 2 bars of power ourselves with at least 7 armor up buffs, throw our special 2 to get to 12, that triggers my arc overload mode, and then we're going to do some good damage from there. Why do I say ish for the special 2? Storm Pyramid X's special 2 versus most champions really hurts. But with OG Iron Man, it doesn't. And we will see that later in this fight. And there are multiple reasons why. The first reason is he is an absolute tank. With so much armor rating, he just doesn't take very much damage. I believe he has the highest armor rating of any tech champion once you ramp him up. He caps out at 20 armors, and they are some pretty potent armor ups. Additionally, when awakened, that was some great damage off the special 1, he gains increased armor potency, and also massive block proficiency during the opponent's specials. So Storm Pyramid X's special 2, which I believe is going to come now, we took 0 damage off the first hit, and 151 off hits 2 and 3, and dexed out at the end of it. So we took a notoriously hard-hitting special 2, and took 302 damage from it. He is such a tank when it comes to these really hard-hitting special attacks, and he's not even just good against mutants, he's good against lots of champions, as we'll see in a bit. That was 1 minute, 26 seconds. Up next, we have Nick Fury, and because we like class advantage, we'll be going in with Sunspot. We'll be going for a fairly standard Sunspot rotation of 2 or 3 special 1s into special 2, and we'll see how that goes here. But I think Sunspot is an excellent Nick Fury counter, and we'll see why in a little bit. My Sunspot is not SIG 200 here, I believe all the other champions are, but I can't confirm that. But that means we don't get the full 120 charges, we have about 100, which means it's probably about SIG 60. So we're going for our second special 1 there. What you want to do with Sunspot is when you charge your heavy, you pull Incinerates off your opponent, and you put them back onto yourself, so you gain the charges on the left-hand side. So we've got 90 or 87 of the charges on the left, and now we've got 3 of the charges in the middle. Charges in the middle are what give us our damage on the special 2, like this. So that's 2 sets of 50k, and that was about 160k level 2, from a 5-star, not bad at all. What's really important with Sunspot is when you block, whilst there is Incinerate on the opponent, it will be a perfect block, which gives you nice long parries, so you can charge your heavy back and pull lots of Incinerates across. The really interesting thing though is if you do on a special attack like this, you'll perfect block the entire special attack. And you can see me doing that for most of the special ones. I ate a heavy there because I'm bad, but we'll just try and ignore that. So because we parry one of the hits on the special one, and we still have Incinerates on Nick Fury, we take no damage for the whole special one. A very, very clean fight there from Sunspot. Ignoring the fact that I ate a heavy, we would have ended up with much more health. Up next, we have Thor Jane Foster, and because I personally consider her the easiest defender on this path, words I will come to eat in about 20 seconds, I've chosen not to bring in a science champion, so this is the only fight we don't have class advantage for, and therefore we don't have the Wrath node for. And we'll be using OG Iron Man to show that he's not just good against mutants, he's good against lots of opponents. Now, that's my mistake in this fight. I eat that special one, which deals me some damage, and this shock damage is going to sort of eat into my health a bit as well. But let's see what OG Iron Man can do. Remember, with class advantage against Storm X, and remember we had the Wrath node there as well, that fight was 1 minute 26 seconds. So let's see what Iron Man can do in an effectively unnoded fight. The only thing we really have to worry about here is Brute Force, which you can see is the grey timer that's going round, which will deal me some damage if it gets all the way around, like this, but then you can just get rid of it pretty quickly, simply by striking the opponent. So we've gone for Special 2 into 2 Special 1s, we've got 6 armor breaks, and you can see that we're getting some very respectable damage. That was a 15k light attack crit. And this is just what Iron Man does. There you go. Very, very respectable damage indeed. So we're going for another special one. I trigger the regen there, and you can see that's going up very nicely. We're getting nearly 600 per tick, so we're back over 50% health, up to 54 from about 20, so that's 30% regen. Very, very nice. And here we're just building, so I make a mistake here. We're building to the special 2, but I don't need to, because when you get to 12 armors, like that, you'll trigger the Arc Overload. So we now have 18 armors. It would have been better to go for special 1s and then go that way, but no big deal. Just about to close out this fight, Iron Man dealing with it with not much issue, and one special 1, if we got another crit, would have closed things out, but instead we go for a very nice intercept and get a 15k medium crit. And I believe that was 1 minute 37, so only slightly slower than when we had the Wrath node, and the fight was a bit sloppy. Up next we have Sentinel, and we'll be using Medusa against a robot, which effectively means we're going to be cheating the hell out of this fight. If Sentinel play ball, which he sort of does and sort of doesn't. Medusa's damage output is generally considered very good, and we'll see that in action here. So once we go for our special 1, there we go, we get up to 6 armor breaks, which keeps the armor break on him, but also puts the armor shatter on them. Armor shattered robot opponents, so that's against Medusa, and Vision Arcus is the only other person that can access it, gain no power and have no ability accuracy. You can see when we hit Sentinel, he just gains no power at all, so we can just keep hitting him. But, there we go, here comes the special 1. Medusa gains her own Furies as well, and we can see that even with Cosmic Wrath, and 3 of Medusa's personal Furies, and the armor break, and the armor shatter, her lights were hitting for about 9k when they crit, which is significantly less than what Iron Man was hitting for in the previous fight, without all of those boosts. Regardless, we go for our special 3, so we get the armor shatter back. Sentinel very kindly throws that special for us, and now we can basically just wail on him in the corner, because he has no ability accuracy, and can't get any power, so I'm just going to backdraft him in the corner, but he doesn't really want to play ball with the backdraft, so I'm just going to hit him, and go for the special 1 to close out this fight. It doesn't quite, and the auto block actually saves me there, for a nice 11k medium. 1 minute 16, Medusa always makes robot fights nice and quick. Last up on the path, we have the champion. And we'll be going in with Dr. Doom. What do we have to worry about in this fight? Well, really not very much. The champion gains charges. When he has charges, he can go unstoppable, but nullifying him and getting hits on our combo means we can remove those charges, and Dr. Doom is an absolute control powerhouse, so we'll just be going for our standard Doom cycle. Here we're building to special 3. When he triggers his buffs, because I'm running Mystic Dispersion, I'm getting a burst of power. There we go. There goes his Fury. So you can see he stays on 0 charges. If I hadn't have nullified that Fury, he would now be on 1 charge. Standard Doom cycle. Straight into the special 3. Going to skip the special 3 because I've seen it quite a few times. Medium, medium, light, 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 medium, medium, special 1. And my general rule is if that combo, so special 3 and then the first half of the Doom cycle gets them below 40 to 45%, then it's safe to just throw the special 2. However, he was at 53, so we're going to go for another special 3. So like medium, special 1. And here we have more than enough damage with our special 2 to close out this fight. Annoyingly, not a single hit of it crits, so we're just going to have to close that with a heavy and some incinerates. Tick him down absolutely fine. Finally, Hela, the boss. And we will be cheesing this fight with Dr. Doom, but I will also show this fight with Sorcerer Supreme on a separate run-through, where we're doing it without cheesing it. We'll do it a bit more normally. So, how does this cheese work? Firstly, you need a Dr. Doom, and he needs to be awakened and as high sig as possible. This fight is actually quite easy, so unless you have a high sig or max sig Doom, I wouldn't personally invest stones into Dr. Doom to do this fight. There's no need. An unawakened Doom would take it absolutely fine. But what's going on here? If we hit Hela hard enough, and the heavy assault node means we definitely will be, she triggers a physical resistance. However, our heavies trigger a nullify, or a stagger, which then nullifies that physical resistance. When Dr. Doom nullifies a buff and is awakened, he has a chance to place a shock on the opponent, and this is 100% at Sig 200. When the opponent is shocked, Dr. Doom will passively stun them when charging his heavy attack, and you can see this lands us in quite a nice loop. We don't have to worry about anything Hela can do because she can't do anything. If your Doom's not Sig 200 but still awakened, you can try this and just see I've got that special 3 in reserve. Keep an eye on her bar, and if she doesn't trigger that shock, or you don't trigger that shock, then just throw the special 3 and go standard Doom cycle. You've got full power, she's got full power, these are prime conditions for doing exactly that. But, just like that, the fight's over. A very, very simple fight, and somehow the boss is the shortest fight on the path. So now we're going to use Symbiote Supreme and do this fight properly. What do we have to worry about? Well, we have Lazarus, which is going to extend the length of the fight, but Symbiote Supreme actually does quite well against Lazarus, as we'll see at the end. We also have to worry about Counter-Strike, but for the moment, that's just giving us Furies, so let's focus on that. Rust and Ruin doesn't mean much for Symbiote Supreme, apart from the fact that we might be taking a little bit of extra damage from Hela. And finally, Heavy Assault means we just have to watch out for not getting walloped by her special 2, but specifically her heavy attacks. They will be significantly larger and do much more damage, and she will also go unstoppable. However, in this fight, I'll be going for my fairly standard Symbiote Supreme rotation, which is special 3 and then special 2 spam until we run out of our 3 phases at the top, which is pretty much going to be straight away. But we're pretty much straight back to special 3 from that. I'm not running any boosts in this fight. That's not power backed. That's just what Symbiote Supreme does. I am, however, running 5 out of 5 Mystic Dispersion, which means when Hela is triggering that physical resistance, which he does a fair amount, I gain a burst of power. It's not loads, but it's certainly enough to sort of help us get by. Symbiote Supreme also power steals on his special 2, which is why we're getting big chunks of power back, and he also has power gain whenever he cycles modes. All of these things combined together help really keep him moving, though he can feel a little bit slow without Mystic Dispersion. There, what I'm doing is I'm throwing the heavy attack, which almost guarantees that she'll trigger the physical resist. I can then instantly stagger that, and that'll give Symbiote Supreme those purple charges, which are currently second on the bottom row. More of those he has, the more power gain he gains when he switches phases. There we've got to watch out for Heavy Assault and Hela going unstoppable. 5 staggers now, so we don't have to worry about her healing or anything like that. Now, why is Symbiote Supreme particularly good against Lazarus? Well, something I didn't actually know until I did this fight, and I'm always happy to keep learning things, is that he completely bypasses it. When Hela triggered her indestructible, Symbiote Supreme nullifies it. When Symbiote Supreme nullifies a buff in the right mode, he deals extra damage, and when he deals extra damage to the opponent, that seems to have triggered before Lazarus, or maybe his nullifies or staggers was keeping her from regenerating. Either way, he closes out this fight very well, and don't forget to move to that final node once you've completed the boss. So, there you have it. Everything you need to know to clear 7.1.4. Coming next week, we'll be diving into the Abyss with multiple world record solos coming your way, so keep an eye out for that. We'll of course be continuing the Act 7 run through, plus all sorts of other things that I keep meaning to get round to. I do also have a Discord server, a great place to get specific advice, make suggestions for future video topics, and while I'm awake, I do my best to be there as much as possible. If you have any questions, please do leave them down below, and please do all the YouTube stuff. Thank you, and I will see you next time.